I'm a Chief Career Navigator. I'm many things. I'm a talent acquisition consultant and HR consultant, but in the realm of my job, I'm a Chief Career Navigator. So what I'm going to talk to you in the next 5 or so minutes is what is networking and how can you be a networking ninja in your career? So what I want to talk to you first is about what networking is, and Andy and Jessica have talked about this both in their talks tonight. So networking certainly isn't thoughtlessly connecting with people on LinkedIn. You know, it isn't connecting, sort of catching up with somebody for a coffee and asking them for a job. Hi, thanks for a coffee, can I have a job? And it isn't speaking to somebody at an event for 15 minutes just to pass the time before the real event happens. You know, basically what it is efficient, consistent, and planned effort to get in front of people. So the key there is getting in front of people. So Jess and Andy both talked about it tonight. I think LinkedIn has its place, but getting in front of people is where the magic happens. So in my time of coaching people, in my time of interviewing people, I've probably interviewed somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 people over the last 12 years. Of the advice I give people and of the information I've been able to gather in that time of the best types of people to network with, this is what I have come up with. So if you're not sure where to start, if you don't network at all, these are the 3 key people that you should be thinking about who to network with. The first people, or groups of people, are people who can help you with a specific problem. The second thing is people who represent mutually beneficial business dealings, like Jessica was talking about, even if they're not necessarily right now. They could be mutually beneficial in the future. And the third thing are people who are in positions or positions or companies that you would like to be in the future. So if you're thinking about networking for your career in particular, and you want to be in a position in the future or a company in the future, then they are the types of people that you would be networking with. So now just put up your hand, let's get some movement here. Anybody who consistently networks with any of these type of people once a month? Yeah, hi. Okay, what about once a week? Okay. Okay, so we've got some really great people. I know Ben is an amazing networker and Andy's an amazing networker. So if you think about your career, if the people who I've met who have amazing careers, Ben is a very young CIO, one of the youngest CIOs I have ever met in Melbourne. He's a great example of somebody who networks in his career and has gotten to a great position young because of his networking. So the thing that sets apart people with great careers and good careers is planned, efficient and consistent networking. So to be a networking ninja, try think about incorporating this type of thing at least once a month in your career, if not once a week. Now, what to say? So you're like, okay, I get it. Jess and Rachel and Andy have sold me. I'm definitely going to start networking. So what do you actually say? So look, Jess has a good point that don't just send them a note. I do agree that it's great to have a recommendation, but if you don't have the networks in the first place and you're starting from absolute ground zero, then you kind of got to start with at least events like this, or you do got to start with LinkedIn. But a good way to start is thinking about those 3 types of people and thinking about how to craft a note that has the message directed at those 3 types of people. So if you're talking to somebody with a problem to solve, then you would say, hi, whoever you are, I have this problem and can you help me with this problem? Actually, Chanel in the back of the room gave me this idea when I interviewed her for one of my blogs. That's what you would say. Most of the time they will email you back and talk to you about your problem, and then you can ask for a coffee time. The second thing is if you're talking to somebody where there might be mutual beneficial time with business dealings, you would say, hi, whoever you are, I'm really impressed with the work that you're doing. It would be great to meet and discuss synergies or mutual benefits or work that we could potentially do together. An example here is there's somebody who I know of called Campbell Buttress, and he runs a similar social enterprise called Inside Out. He focuses much more on what I would call life coaching rather than career coaching. And I reached out to him and said, hey Campbell, loving what you're doing. Would you like to catch up for a coffee and talk about synergies that we could do together? And I've never met this guy from a bar of soap, and he emailed back to me within 1 minute and said, absolutely, I've just checked out your website, love it, we should catch up for a coffee and talk about work that we can do together in the future. So rather than him being a competitor, we could potentially work together. The third is if you're job hunting and thinking about an aspirational career or an aspirational company, you would talk to that person on LinkedIn or email them and say, obviously stroke their ego a little bit. Hey, I'm really impressed with the career that you're doing, or I have a great interest in working for a particular company. Can I buy you a coffee for 30 minutes and just talk to you about how you got where you are and ask you some advice on what I could do in my career? 99.9% of the times people will say yes. If they don't, they're just super, super busy. Don't be offended, and then just follow up with an email saying, totally fine if you're busy, can I contact you again in a month or so and see if your time is better then. There is amazing respect that you get for being tenacious. If you do follow them up in a month and say, look, hey, I spoke to you a month ago on LinkedIn, is it possible if we can catch up for a conversation now? Then they'll be so amazed that you actually remembered to contact them, and they will meet with you. So that's baseline networking. There's obviously networking events like this. So I am amazed at the free networking events that are available in the city. Has anybody heard of meetup.com here? Meetup.com is an amazing website where no matter what your interest is, whether it's speaking French or whether it's .NET development or whatever it is, there is a group for you on meetup.com. You go on there, it's free, I think, to join if you're just a participant, and you can find any meetup, and there's something going on pretty much every month of the year on meetup.com. You can join a industry body, and there'll be events going on all the time for low cost, and I highly recommend putting into your employment calendar some sort of networking event where you can get in front of people who are peers within your community and start meeting people. As Jessica mentioned, the people that you meet at that event might not be the person that you're destined to meet, but their friends, and their friends are the ones that you end up networking with down the track.